Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for having me on your call tonight. And one of the things that Sean and I talk, because we talk here and there because we're both in Team Dynasty and part of Scotty's personally sponsored Diamond Coaches. And so, it's always great, iron sharpens iron. And so, we talk here and there. And one of the things that we've talked about is that consistency and just overcoming obstacles and a lot of those things that people give up on and they quit their journey. Other people that are still here today, it's because they pushed through those obstacles and kept going even when it was hard. And so when I was thinking about that topic, I was thinking about some of the things that have come across in my journey as a coach and some of the changes that I made like when things were just not working. So what I'm talking about today is course corrections. And I just want to share with you a few of the things where I realized that there was a problem and what I did to fix it. So hopefully, or maybe one of the things that I have discovered, that I was doing wrong or could improve, maybe you have something similar in your own business and this could help you as well. So I'm going to share my screen so I can pull up my slides. Okay, do you guys see, oh, wait. Okay, do you guys see the course correction slide? The picture?
Yeah, we see a little bit of it.
Let me see if I maximize. Okay,
there
how
we go.
about now? Can you see it?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the first thing, my first big course correction was about Facebook privacy settings. And I specifically remember this conversation, and I remember when it was in October. Well, actually, it was like my birthday weekend in 2012 when I turned 30, because Scotty Hobbs, he had traveled from Idaho Falls all the way here to Knoxville, Tennessee for my surprise 30th birthday party. And it was actually the first time I ever met Scotty in person. And so he was here and we were just kind of talking about my business and what I needed to do to grow and, to keep on building. And at this point I had been in the business for just over a year. And at this time, my husband was a police officer with Knoxville Police Department and very, very strict about who I would talk to and what my privacy settings were. And nobody could know I was a police wife and nobody could know what he did for a living. And like everything had to be all like hush hush all the time. And so what I realized, or what Scotty like really pointed out, was you have a closed sign on your business if your privacy settings are set to only friends. So that means there's nobody else that's able to like find you on Facebook. There's nobody, like if you have your stuff shut down so nobody can see you and see your posts, even if they're not your friends, then nobody's going to say, like no one's going to ever come across your post or your video or your live feed that day and say, oh, who is this person? I like what they're about. I want to follow them. So after some convincing between Mike and Scotty, finally I was able to release all my privacy settings and make my profile public and all of that. So one thing I always tell my coaches to do is to just make sure that you're checking out your privacy settings pretty regularly. Facebook, as you guys know, is always changing stuff, and it's just a good thing to monitor and make sure that you have it set so that people can find you and check you out. All right, correction number 2, and this was in June of 2013. I was very hit and miss with personal development, and June of 2013 was right after my first summit, and by this time I had already left my job where I was working as a paralegal, And I left my job so I can do Beachbody full time. I had just had Mikey, so Mikey was a newborn. And of course, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Summit yet, but when you leave Summit, you are like totally pumped and you are like ready to take on the world, and you see the top 10 coaches on stage, you see the elite coaches on stage, and you finally realize that they're just normal people like you, and there's nothing holding you back except for yourself. So right after Summit, I had another, realization that one of the big differences between me and the people upstage getting recognition is personal development. When I was working as a paralegal, I was working full time, going to school full time for my master's degree. I was pregnant, and I had all the proper excuses, but those excuses were not getting me to my goals. So I finally had to truly commit, and what I did to really take it seriously is I started documenting my personal development journey. So as Beachbody coaches, we're taught to document our fitness journey and talk about what we're eating for dinner and how to make this clean recipe and all that stuff, but we don't ever do that much about documenting our personal development journey. And that's a great way to share with people some of the other awesome aspects about this business and about the way that you're changing and growing as a person. So when I decided to really commit to this as part of my journey, I started with John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Personal Growth. And I started doing a YouTube video for each one of the laws. And it just held me accountable, obviously, because I told everybody this is just the same way you would do with a program. I said, this is my day one. I'm going to be reading this many. I'm going to do the laws, one law per day, and I'm going to post a video. And it was just a great way to just kind of put myself out there and start, because that's always the main point, is you have to start somewhere, just start. So document that personal development journey. It's going to keep you accountable, and it's going to show others the progression of who you're becoming through this journey. Okay, number 3, proof the product works. I just used this example of doing the ultimate reset. These course corrections go in chronological order. So they're kind of started back in 2012 and moving forward. So July 2013. I don't know about you guys, but before I became a coach, I did P90X, and I had a day 1 and a day 90 of P90X. I followed the program just like you're supposed to. I did everything you're supposed to. I did the workout that you do on that day, and it's still totally ingrained in my mind. Like Monday is chest and back, and Tuesday is plyometrics. Like I did it for so long, I know exactly how it goes without looking. For some reason, once I became a coach, following a program went out the window, because I just got, I got so interested, and I started program hopping from different things, and like, oh, what's this program? I want to try Insanity. Oh, now there's Asylum. I want to do that. What's this Brazil butt lift thing? I want to try that. And so I was just hopping around from program to program. And once I became a coach, I never finished a program ever again until, well, now I do. But those first couple of years, I was just program hopping away. And when you do that, you're not showing people a start and a finish. You're not showing like, hey, I started something and here's what happened. Here's what I did. Here's what this program did for me. So one of the ways that really helped me to get back on track with having a day 1 and a day 21 in this instance was I committed to doing the ultimate reset, and it just felt great. It was a great boost of confidence for myself, a great taste of success to actually say that I finished something. It's kind of like that same concept of having a to-do list, and you get that personal satisfaction of being able to mark things off of your list. Well, it's just a human nature where you feel good when you finish something. So 21 days, I shared my journey. It helped me to still stay on track with that sharing aspect of the business, building that consistency and showing people what I was doing. So being proof the product works means that you are starting and finishing something. So you need to just kind of give yourself a check, because it's hard when Beachbody is always throwing these awesome programs at us all the time. I mean, yeah, I want to do size and I want to do max 30, and oh, what about hammer and chisel? But you have to have a day 1 and a day 60, or a day 1 and day 21, whatever it is, and follow that program. If that's what we're wanting our challengers to do, that's what we need to be doing too. It starts with you, and then everything that you're doing, your team is going to be doing. So don't be putting those bad habits in and program hopping along. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't still, want to do something else here and there. And if I'm in the mood to like throw in size or something, you can do that. You can do that on demand or whatever. But for a whole, you have to make sure that you're actually doing the programs. We're Beachbody coaches, so we need to be making sure we're doing that. All right. Oh, that's the same one. All right. Correction number 4, late fall of 2013, believing in myself and believing that I deserved success. So I got to a point in my business where I guess probably at this time I was about 3-star, 3 or maybe 4-star. And all along, Scotty had been telling me that I was going to be an elite coach and I had what it takes, and I could really do it and all this stuff. And I was like, I had gotten to that point in my business where I was making a little bit of money, a lot more money than I was used to having. So I was comfortable. And when you get to that place of feeling comfortable, then sometimes you start believing that you can do anything more than that. So it came down to getting to the end of like the 3rd quarter of the year. And really, if elite is one of your goals, then you really need to be like locked in and have like certain goals and metrics that you're hitting in your business in order to end and qualify as an elite coach at the end of the year, because you need to be 5-star. You need to have certain things for elite points and things like that. So I needed to make that decision. Do I deserve to be an elite coach? If I look in the mirror, can I say, Jen, you have helped a lot of people. You have created a great culture with the Fit Family Network and everything else. You deserve to be up there, recognized as an elite coach. And it was very hard for me because I'm somebody who has always just kind of flown under the radar and kind of settled for just being average. And I had to be okay with saying, yes, I do want that. Yes, I do want to be up on stage at Summit. Yes, I do want to be part of that top 1%. And just because you want those things, it doesn't mean that, you're all about glitz and glamour or anything like that. It just means that you want to prove that it's possible. Because until you prove that, nobody on your team is going to set that as a goal for themselves. So I was the first one in my team of, me and then my personally sponsored downline to set that goal of being elite and then to accomplish it. And then once I did, the next year, I had one of my personally sponsored coaches that became elite, and we had some premier coaches and things like that. So it kind of starts with you, but you have to believe in yourself and believe that you deserve to do that. If you're putting in the work and you are mentoring coaches and signing up challengers and helping people with their goals, then yes, you totally deserve to be up there. So once I made that decision, which it definitely took a lot of, I guess my love language is definitely affirmations. And it definitely took a lot of that from my husband and from Scotty to be able to say, yes, you can do it. You can do that. And so 2013 was my first year being elite. And it's really cool to go back and look at this old picture from 3 years ago and just seeing how small the Bombshell Dynasty elite coaches were, which the Bombshell Dynasty is like 2 or 3 levels up of our, our upline team with Lindsay Matway. So it's grown considerably since then, but it's just really cool to see where it started. Okay, correction number 5, raising the bar. So Success Club 10 All-Star Legend. That was something I would have never put in the same sentence or on the same piece of paper or even in the same notebook with my name and that title. Because like when I started as a coach, I hit Success Club hardly ever. Like in my first year, it was very hit and miss. And especially like when I started as a coach, they didn't have challenge packs yet. So the way that you earned Success Club points was you got 1 point for somebody getting Shakeology on HD, or you got 2 points if somebody signed up as a coach with Shakeology on HD. And they also had a requirement that one of your points had to be from a coach sign up that month. So they were like, you were required to get at least one new coach a month, and there was no challenge pack. So it was all relating to Shakeology only. So it was very hit and miss for me because I started off kind of more like a hobby coach, and I was, not that I was inconsistent, but I just didn't have that belief in myself yet. So it wasn't until maybe like my second year into the business that I became an SC5 All-Star. And it was hard. Like I am not one of those people that just like racks up the points and they just flow to me or anything like that. Like it was probably still, in this point of my business, one of the hardest things that I accomplished so far. I don't know why, but it is. And I remember being at the leadership retreat in 2013, being in Scottsdale, or no, my first one was in California, in Santa Monica. And I asked Scotty, what's the next thing? Like, okay, I got SC All-Star, and Legend wasn't a thing yet, but I'm like, all right, I did the All-Star thing and I'm on track to hit Elite. So now what? And he said, get SC10. And I'm like, well, I can't get SC10. I've maybe hit SC8 ever. Like that was at that point, that was the highest I had ever gotten. So I'm like, how do you expect me to go from being like an SC5, SC6 coach to now all of a sudden being a Success Club 10? And so even when he said that, I was like, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So it wasn't like until a couple months later, which is why I put December 2013. It wasn't a couple months later that I was like, all right, I'm going to accept the challenge. I'm going to raise the bar for myself. And, you know, if it happens, it happens. And I'm just going to set that as my goal. And December would have been the first month that I got SC10 ever, but I had a return. But I still had 5 new, challenge packs that month. But anyway, so that next January was my first official SC10, so January of 2014, and I have hit SC10 and above ever since then. And a lot of people ask me, like, what was the difference maker? And I actually have a video about that, but really the difference maker was deciding that that was my goal, because before, when my goal was SC5, as soon as I had those points, I was like, oh gosh, a weight has been lifted off of me. I can not stress about Success Club anymore. And I would stop inviting. I would stop following up. I would stop adding new conversations and new invites because I was just relieved that I got my goal and I could move on. But now, with that being my goal, I want to hit SC10 and above every month. And so it doesn't matter if I've already hit SC10, I'm still doing the same amount of follow-ups and invites and new conversations every day as if I had SC0. And I would say that's definitely the biggest difference maker, is I just keep doing it. It doesn't matter how many Success Club points I have at that moment. So I would say that was the difference maker for me. But raising the bar for myself was a huge change in my team dynamic, because until I made that change, there was nobody else that was shooting for SC10. Now on my team, we have several coaches who are now SC10 All-Star Legends as well, which I think is super awesome. And even people that maybe are not SC10 All-Stars, they have, raised their bar to make Success Club 5 their non-negotiable, which was more than what they were pushing themselves for before. So, you just have to kind of raise that bar and know that every time you raise the bar for yourself, yes, it's more of a challenge for yourself, but you're also raising the bar for your team. And they're going to look to you to kind of set that example and set that pace, and then they're going to follow what you're doing. So if you're raising that bar, you're going to be accelerating the pace and growth of your team as well, which is always a good thing. Okay, correction number 6, and this is the last one. So investing in a PD seminar. There was I was at leadership, so there's a little side note right there. Being at leadership, there are so many, like that's where so many of my like major moments happened, is these one-on-one conversations with some of these big leaders in the business. But anyways, I was having a conversation with Miguel Carrasco, and if you guys don't know him, he is a great one to follow. He's in Canada, so I'm sure that you guys know Miguel. But anyways, we were talking to him and his wife. I adore his wife, Erin, and we were just kind of talking about income and how things had grown and progressed and things like that. And he asked me if I had been to like a Tony Robbins or Brendon Burchard, Chalene Johnson's Smart Success, or any of those things that are like an investment, not just buying a $10 book on Amazon. And the answer was no. I had not done that step in my business yet, partially because I don't trust myself to, I wasn't trusting myself to make that investment worthwhile, I guess. Like some of the online webinar type things, like I'll buy it, I've spent maybe a couple $100 on things like that. And then I don't really get as much out of it as I could because, I get behind on watching the webinars and things like that. So I guess I just got scared to make an investment like some of these, like GoPro and things like that, because I was nervous that I would invest it and not get the benefit out of it for my own fault. So anyways, when I was having this conversation with Miguel about income and such, he was like, when you get to a certain amount of income, like in your early 6 figures, you are not going to progress past that unless you invest in yourself. And you need to go and make an investment in yourself, go to a seminar, go to Tony Robbins, things like that. And right around that time is when we found out about the GoPro event in Vegas. So I'm super excited about that. I think Sean is going. But that's in Vegas in December. So that's going to be my very first one, and I'm really looking forward to it. Eric Worre will be there, Tony Robbins, Richard Branson. So it's going to be an amazing event, and I'm super, super excited about that. And there's, I think maybe it's Chalene or somebody says that you should invest about 10% of your income back into yourself. And that's something that you should be doing. You may not be at a point yet where you're ready to spend thousands of dollars going to a seminar, but you definitely should be investing in yourself, feeding your mind the things that you need to be so that you can progress in this business. So that was my last, that was my last one. All right. So did you guys have any questions or anything?
You guys are such a quiet bunch. You guys have one of the top Beachbody coaches in front of you right now. This is the time, if you're struggling with something, to bring up the questions. All of you have big goals. All of you are working towards something. All of you have struggles. Now is the time to talk about them and see if Jen can maybe either relate to them or maybe talk us through them. So someone better be talking right about now.
I have something.
There you go.
Jennifer, when you feel like you're going off track, what do you do?
Normally, when I feel like I'm going off track, it's because I have stopped starting my morning right. I follow the Miracle Morning, and actually, let me show you guys right here.
Oh, Miracle Morning.
That's what I started. Yeah.
So this is what I do every morning. you guys have probably talked about doing affirmations and stuff, right? Like talking about, I am worthy of success, I am capable, I have everything I need to succeed, things like that. Well, sometimes I have a hard time thinking of those things on my own, so I'll actually listen to a YouTube video. So if you go on YouTube and you search like positive affirmations or affirmations for success, and I will listen to one of those. They're usually like 7 to 10 minutes or something, and then I'll just write down like everything that comes to mind. So just for example, this is what I wrote down several days ago. I have purpose, passion, and enthusiasm. I know my path and where I want to go. I am focused. I'm efficient and productive. I am ambitious. I'm a hard worker. And so like when you start your day off by writing those things down about yourself, the rest of the day, when you start doing things that are not this, then it just kind of flags your mind a little better, because you're kind of like, that's not the path that I want to take for myself. And you have to like treat yourself like a toddler sometimes and get yourself back to where you need to be. So that's the first part, is I write down those affirmations, just whatever random stuff comes into mind. And then let me find a bigger one.
So at work, I actually did do that. It's right by my computer, and I read it every day.
Yeah.
But so like when you were first starting off, did you feel that you weren't good enough?
Yeah, I still feel like that all the time. Like all the time, which is why I have to do this every day. And I used to have affirmations that I wrote out and I would read the same ones every day, but now I rewrite them every single day. And I've heard that. I think Brendan Burchard talked about that. And I was like, why would you rewrite them every day? That seems like a waste of time.
Yeah, but it's such a good daily reminder.
Yeah, because like you're writing it, and like as you're writing it, it's going into your head. And then the second thing I do is I do this little gratitude thing. So I just write gratitude there in the middle, and then I just shoot little lines out and write down everything that comes to mind that I'm grateful for, you know, my health, my family, Mikey, my business, things like that. And then I started adding in these affirmations about my team. So like I wrote out who my Success Club earners are going to be this month, who my new rank advancements are going to be this month, things like that. I actually even write them as if they happened, like congratulations, new diamond coach, Robin. And probably to an outside person, it looks like I'm a crazy person. And Mike thinks I'm crazy sometimes too when he sees these weird things that I'm doing. But it really helps me and helps me to focus on the positive, because sometimes you can definitely let negative thoughts come in your mind when your coaches aren't hitting the marks that you want them to hit. And you're like, why aren't they hitting Success Club and things like that? But like I'm focusing on the positive by saying like, so these 6 people are going to hit Success Club this month. And I don't know. So that really helps me.
So just like write down just the positive affirmations and just write something down that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like 2 different versions of affirmations. Like you have your affirmations about yourself, like saying that you're worthy of success, that you have everything you need to be successful, that you inspire people, that you're, you know, a positive light to others, those kind of things.
Okay.
And then you have your affirmations for your team. My team is thriving. My team is helping people get started on their fitness journey. My team is an elite team. My team has 10 people hitting Success Club this month. My team is being recognized on the National Wake Up Call every week, like those kind of things.
Right.
So you make them specific to your personal self, whether they're about business or about your marriage, about your kids. I'm an amazing mom. I'm an amazing wife. I'm present for my family, those kind of things. And then you have separate ones for your business. I'm a great leader of my team. My team is inspired by my journey. I'm consistent. I'm disciplined, stuff like that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you were still working full-time as a paralegal, how did you find time to juggle everything?
A couple things. I didn't have a kid yet, and I was a horrible employee and did stuff at work a little bit when I could. So I would like, sneak some stuff on the computer or whatever when I was not busy at work. And also, I just didn't get a lot of sleep, to be honest. Like I would be, especially when I had school, I would work from 8 to 5, and then I had my program for my master's degree from 6 till about 9. And then I would get home, and sometimes I would even work out once I got home, because that's kind of what would like give me a little bit more energy. So I would come home, work out, and then I would get started on doing my Beachbody stuff. And it definitely was a sacrifice during that time. On nights that my husband was home, on nights where he was like on night shift and stuff like that, I would end up coming home and like working until like 2 a.m. sometimes, because I was just solo. I was just by myself. I had nobody to hang out with anyways. And we're semi-new to living in Knoxville, so I didn't have any friends. So it was a great, like, that's kind of why Beachbody was such a great fit for me in the beginning, because it kind of like filled a gap for me. I was like doing all kinds of stuff to fill that void. I was going and volunteering in the emergency department at the hospital and doing all kinds of weird stuff to kind of like fill that void of wanting to like provide value. And then when Beachbody came along, I was like, oh, this is great. This is so much better than working with people at the hospital.
Who else? Anybody else? Okay, you guys are all liars. I'm gonna ask the question that everybody's afraid to ask. Jenn, over the last 4 years, how did you deal with life getting in the way? Because we all go through it as Beachbody coaches. We all wake up, we get floods in our basement, right, Benita? We get, myself, I had surgeries. How do you deal with your business and push forward and grow as much as you've grown? And I guarantee you have had some life struggles over the last 4 years. So how did you get past those things to get to where you are today?
Well, still to this day, I find it so weird that I have stuck with it, because I am a habitual quitter. Like, I'm somebody that likes to start things and not finish, kind of like what I was talking with the program hopping and stuff. And I like change. Like, I'm somebody that will go to a restaurant and order something different every time. Like, I don't like to do the same thing twice. And so coaching requires consistency and doing a lot of the same things every day. And that goes very much against my grain of wanting to be sporadic and all over the place. But because I saw the vision of what this could be and how this could change our family, it was worth it to me. And I understood very early on that it was going to take that consistency and showing up every day. And there have been lots of, arguments even with my husband about, why are you on the computer? Why don't you want to come watch a movie? Things like that. And it took a while for him to understand and to be on board. And it's obviously much easier with him being on board and understanding what I'm working for now. But really, I guess it was just understanding that it does boil down to that consistency. Any other coach that I know that is still here, because I've been here now for 5 years, and there's so many coaches that I used to think were like rock stars when I got started, and they're not here anymore. The people that are here and the people that you're seeing as elite coaches and Millionaires Club and things like that, it's because they were there and they showed up every single day. And I don't care if you're not perfect. I don't care if you didn't do everything like you're supposed to do. If you show up and, still maintain that desire of wanting to help somebody in some way, then I think that you'll make it through. And the second thing is, when I got started, we didn't have the vital behaviors. We had something called the game plan. And there was like 7 or 8 things on the game plan. And the last one was be here in a year. And I really wish that Beachbody, what?
Why on the computer?
I want to call. Oh. I really wish that Beachbody would bring that one back, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen that graphic where that guy is like digging into a mountain and then there's like the gold and it's like that much away. And, it's basically just saying like, you don't know how close you are to hitting that gold. And, so be here in a year was something that I mentally committed to when I started. And I knew that I was still going to be here. I knew that I didn't want to quit and see other people that started at the same time as me be like excelling, and I'm the one that quit and, now tries to sell wraps or something. So like, it was just a decision. I just committed, like that whole decide, commit, succeed thing. It just works.
So in the beginning, how did you overcome? Now Mike is probably your biggest supporter, and if anybody sees you guys together, I definitely see it, and I think that's why I'm such a, I see Michael as a mentor to me myself. But in the beginning, when you guys had that conflict of, him not really understanding why you were on the computer all the time and so forth, how did you guys overcome that as a couple? Because I know some of our coaches are having that issue right now.
Well, the first thing was once, like when I told him that I wanted to become a coach, he thought that it was going to be a waste because he knows that I am a quitter by my nature. And so he just assumed that this was going to be my next latest and greatest idea. So once I did not stop hounding him to let me finally sign up, we made an agreement that in 6 months we would talk about it and make a decision if this is working for us. And I had to agree that if it was not working for us, that I would quit without having a fit about it. And he had to agree that if it was working, then he would agree to let us continue building this and to not give me a hard time. So having that time frame, like from the get-go, having that agreement with each other really, really helped. And I think that was part of it. And then the second part of it was having results. I mean, there's a lot of coaches on my team that also have that same issue of having that struggle. But are you actually on your computer because you're doing something productive, or are you on your computer because you're Facebook scrolling? I mean, it was hard for him to not be on board when I'm like starting to come in with a really awesome income. So that's a really great way, a pretty surefire way to convince your spouse that this is worth your time when you have something to show for it. And that was definitely like, if you are married, you know how to speak your husband or your spouse's language. You know what kind of thing is going to get their eyes to open and open their eyes to something. So not saying that Mike is all about the money, but Mike speaks the language of money. So that was something that I knew was going to get him to get on my side. And obviously it worked. So win-win.
Perfect. Any other questions? Last question for Jen. Does anybody have anything?
I have one.
Okay, go ahead, Patricia.
So my question is, I've only been involved for like 6 months doing coaching. And one of the things I find that I struggle with is just getting overwhelmed with, like, there's so many different people doing stuff and so many trainings and so many different ways you can track everything you're doing. How did you find what worked for you?
That's a good question. Like I said, I like to change things a lot. There's some people that are so great at systems and they probably have this Excel sheet that they've used forever. I use different things all the time. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm pen and paper girl. And then next month I'm like, I'm going to use Evernote every day. And then the next month I'm like, I'm going to use the BAT. So I find that right now I'm actually using something called the Revitalize Your Business checklist. And it's not really a tracker. It's more of just like you put a check mark in a box type thing. Because I get overwhelmed with having to, like with the BAT, you have to put in a lot of different numbers and stuff like that. And how much time did you spend on this? And so I would just get caught up and spend so much time trying to fill out the BAT that I was like, just forget it. So this thing is just a checklist, and I'll give it to Sean to give to you guys if you want. But anytime that I just feel like, oh, I'm so busy, I've got all this stuff going on, I've got to go pick up Mikey from school and this and that, I feel like this checklist is your non-negotiables. These are the things you can get them done in less than an hour. And if you at least hit those marks, you are taking a forward step in your business. And for me, I don't feel that like that guilty feeling of, oh, I didn't do enough for my business today. As long as I got that checklist, I feel like I covered myself for the day, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry I didn't have a better, like, cooler answer of a great tracker or something.
I don't think it's about
just being honest.
We already got that Revitalize Your checklist. I just
okay.
Yeah, I think I grabbed it from the elite group and put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So Patrina, I just tagged you in it in case you guys are looking for it. It's already in our group. It has been for a while. So yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions for Jenn, thank you so much for talking on my call tonight. So I really got to pick up my game for my call tomorrow on your team. I'm looking forward to it. Guys, great job so far. Tracy is at Success Club 8, which is fantastic. I know Benita's at 1, and Charles is at 2. And you guys are rocking it. Just keep showing up every day and being consistent. And actually take a look at this Revitalize your biz checklist and start tracking, because if you can track it, then you can see where you're lacking in your business and what you can pick up. But if you don't track it, then you have no idea and you're just throwing darts into the wind. That's it, right? Mm-hmm. So again, thank you so much. Guys, please go enjoy your families. It is Sunday, and we will see you guys next Sunday. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good week.